It's NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. The NFL playoffs are just around the corner. The run to the postseason is on. And on today's show, I am going to lay out my predictions for how the next few weeks of the season will ultimately play out. Who's in, who's out, we'll explain in just a bit. When it's all said and done, though, who is going to raise the Lombardi Trophy and be the Super Bowl champions of this season? Let us know. It's as wide open of a year as we've seen in quite some time. Weigh in that comment section. Tell me what you think. Let's begin with the AFC playoff picture. The Ravens currently leading the way with the number one overall seed, a 10-3 record. They have a big game this weekend against the Jags. The Dolphins at 9-4, leading their division, and you have the Chiefs at 8-5, the Jags at 8-5, and then the wild card race right now. Browns hold the fifth spot at 8-5, but then the Steelers and Colts hold the final two spots at 7-6. But a lot of tiebreakers there, as Houston, Denver, Cincy, and Buffalo are all 7-6. It is going to come down to the very end to see who gets those spots. Meanwhile, in the NFC, the Niners are the first team in the NFL to lock up a spot in the postseason. They are at 10-3, but it is coming down to the wire for how things will shake out of who gets home field advantage in the NFC. The Cowboys currently leading their division over the Eagles with the tiebreaker, both of them the same record at 10-3. They are the 2 seed. Lions at 9-4, they're the 3. And the Bucs with a losing record, still leading the NFC South at 6-7. The wild card race, we mentioned Philly at 10-3, they're at the 5 spot. And then it gets ultra competitive from there. The Vikings at the 6th spot at 7-6. Packers have the tiebreaker for the final playoff spot, same record as the Rams, Seahawks, Falcons, and New Orleans at this point. So let's go division by division here. I think the Dolphins finish at 11-6. And I'll tell you what, the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill's been fantastic this year. I think Tua's proven the doubters wrong. But the big thing that they have left to answer the rest of the way is, can they beat teams that are better than them? That is something that they've struggled with for much of the season. Also, Buffalo. This has not been their year. A lot of pressure on Sean McDermott this season. I'll show you in a bit, but I got to tell you, it doesn't look very good for Buffalo's playoff chances at 9-8. The AFC West. This has not been the best season for the Kansas City Chiefs. But even with that said, it's still Andy Reid. It's still Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I think they finish out 12-5. They have a lot of things to work through. I got some big question marks in their receiving core, but they're still without question the best team in their division. The Broncos are improved. They've been much better in the second half of 2023. Russell Wilson's playing better. Sean Payton's got that team to rally behind them. I think they'd be very pleased to have 10 wins and find themselves in the postseason. The AFC North, the Ravens are, without a doubt, on their way. They're in great shape. They've been playing terrific football. 13 wins seems certainly reasonable for the Ravens when it comes to the AFC North. But the other 3 teams, all fighting for wild card spots, the Steelers, Browns, and Bengals. The Steelers' offense has been terrible this year. The Browns, they're going to go forward with Joe Flacco as their guy after a good game he had last week. The Bengals going with Jake Browning. He's looked solid. A lot of tiebreakers to kind of figure out that situation there. The AFC South, this is closer than I think any of us expected this year. The Texans were supposed to be rebuilding. The Colts were supposed to be rebuilding. Titans kind of are who we thought they were, to quote the great Denny Green. But the Jags, I think, still find a way to finish 11-6. Texans going to be interesting to follow when it comes to this C.J. Stroud situation, how healthy he is or not. And, you know, if he can come back from that concussion and everything. In the Indianapolis Colts with Gardner Minshew getting the job done at 9-8, it actually might set this franchise back a little bit in their rebuild plan for not getting the draft picks they expected. But you got to give Shane Steichen a lot of credit for an incredible job they've done in Indy. Who will get home field advantage in the AFC? You may have noticed I have the Ravens doing so. What do you guys think? Who is going to get home field in the AFC? Weigh in that comment section. Let us know who you think. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time, the place to go for last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. The best seats And I got to tell you, it's very easy to use. Here's how it works. You choose the event you want to go to. Maybe it's a sporting event, a concert, comedy show, theater production, whatever it is. And then from there, you choose the seat that you want to sit in. And with Game Time, you get to see what the seat looks like. That way, you get an idea of what you're paying for. And then within a matter of moments, you're checking out and you're getting your tickets. Bam, just like that in no time. You're not having to worry about those sketchy scalpers and all that. And what we're offering our viewers here on NFL Daily is $20 off when you use the promo code NFL Chat. So, here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and download Game Time today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Use that promo code NFL Chat. Save $20 now, and you will not be disappointed with Game Time. You're going to love it. Your family's going to thank you for it when you get them tickets to the next event you go to. Check out Game Time today, proud partner of NFL Daily. Now to the NFC. Man, this is going to be something. The Eagles and Cowboys are both fantastic this year. And they split the season series. And with that, I think that they share the division at 14-3 with the tiebreaker going to Philly. Don't ask me how that works, but somehow the tiebreakers it does. The Giants, I know it's been fun with Tommy DeVito and all that, but reality sinks in. They're going to be a 6-11 team. Commanders, credit to Eric Bieniemy for doing good work with that offense, and Sam Howell taking a step in the right direction, but 5-12 seems to be what they'll likely finish at. The NFC West, the Niners in great shape at 14-3. The Rams and Seahawks both at 9-8. And I feel like I'm being a little generous with Seattle finishing 9-8 because you look at their final stretch. You play the Eagles, you play the Steelers, Titans, and Cardinals. You would hope to get out of there with 3 wins, but you might slip up in one of those others. Even the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, still possible. They could potentially upset Seattle there, so something to watch on that front. Rams beat the Seahawks twice, so they got the tiebreaker there as far as that goes. The NFC North, yes, you heard it first. The NFC North champion Detroit Lions at 12-5. What a job Dan Campbell's done. Jared Goff has looked really good. They got some good young talent there. A home playoff game in Detroit appears to be ahead for this team. The Packers have had a nice second half of this season. Jordan Love looks good. Vikings, they went through the honeymoon phase with Joshua Dobbs, but I think that's kind of fallen off. The Bears, Justin Fields has been tough for teams to game plan for, but they're still not playing to their full potential as a team as a whole. Eberflus, I think, is going to be out when it's all said and done. The NFC South, this is a nasty, ugly division, but somebody's got to win it. And my money's on Baker Mayfield and the Bucs to get the job done. They were my pick before the season began. I said the Bucs would win the NFC South. I think it's a losing record. It isn't the sexiest pick by any means, but I like what Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield, that combo, have together, what they got going. Mike Evans is still there. I know Chris Godwin's headed down here, but they got some talent. Falcons, this hasn't been the year they expected. They're not using Bijan Robinson the way they should. The Saints at 7-10, what a disaster. The Derek Carr experiment has not worked for that team. I think the Bucs walk away with the South. Who gets home field advantage in the NFC? It's going to be interesting, right? I just told you I got 3 teams at 14-3. Who gets the tiebreaker? Who is going to be the NFC home field advantage team, the number 1 seed? Let us know in that comment section. So, based on the tiebreakers and how things generate and all that, I have the Ravens and the Niners getting the 1 seeds in their respective conferences. I got the Ravens at 13-4, the Niners at 14-3, getting those first-round byes where they will await the lowest remaining seed in the divisional round. Now let's go over the wild card matchups. I have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting a wild card playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you recall, these two teams met in a wild card game just a couple of years ago. It was Big Ben's last game, and I got to tell you, this would be a very interesting matchup because can the Chiefs' offense do what they're supposed to do? If not, are the Steelers going to be able to hang around? Watch out. The Dolphins and the Broncos. That would be a potentially fun game. A rematch from several weeks ago when the Dolphins put 70 points on the Broncos. You don't think the Broncos would be hungry in that game? They're a much better team than they were when they played previously. And then I have the Jags taking on the Texans. A little AFC South showdown between these two teams. I think C.J. Stroud is going to come back, and the Texans should have a nice finish to the year. The Jags with a home playoff game, Trevor Lawrence and company, I think that could be very fun between those two teams. The NFC side of things, the Eagles get the 2 seed, and they have the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. They ultimately win the division. They take on the L.A. Rams, who sneak in the final playoff spot in the NFC. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, still the explosive offense going up against this Philly team that hasn't necessarily played their best football as of late. The Detroit Lions at 12-5. They get the Green Bay Packers again. And you may recall on Thanksgiving when the Packers were big underdogs, went into Detroit, beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, as they tend to do, lose on Thanksgiving. Could you imagine if the Packers spoil Detroit's home playoff game they've long awaited for after all these years? And it could happen. And then we get the Bucs and the Cowboys. We got this game last year, the wild card round. Dak, MVP candidate. Baker Mayfield, a home playoff game. We'll see. So those are my predictions for how ultimately this will all shake out. What do you think? How did I do with my playoff predictions? Grade it for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you love it or hate it? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you next time here on NFL Daily.